Alright, let's play a mobile game. There we go. Yeah, I know, it's vertical. My apologies for that. Not much I can do about it. I do wish they'd stop doing that. My two favorite mobile games of the year are both vertical only, which, I mean, I can, from a game design standpoint, understand why you do that, but still, it's damn annoying. I've been having so much fun with this game that, I mean, it's completely replaced Hearthstone for me. Completely. I actually think it might be better, just in certain ways. It's actually a shame it's not out on PC. I think it's totally suitable for it. It's essentially a CCG, although it's more of a kind of lane placement control game than anything else. Let me dive right in, and I'll show you exactly what I mean with it. This will do nicely. It's a bit less random than Hearthstone. There's still an element of RNG to it, no doubt about it, but... let me know if the sound level's off, by the way. I don't stream mobile games very often, so... I'm doing this via the BlueStacks Android emulator. This makes it easier. There we go. That's what we need. Yeah. Any questions on how this works, just drop them in the chat and I'll explain how it works mechanically. Alright, we'll start off with that. It's a little different than Hearthstone, to say the least. Particularly since it actually has phases, which is something that Hearthstone doesn't. Hearthstone is very much against allowing any kind of player interaction during the opponent's turn. In this case, it actually goes back to front, and there are parts of the game where you can actually do things during your opponent's turn, which is kind of nice. So for the most part, it's a CCG with lane control armor. It's got 5 lanes. All of these are lanes. You can place plants in said lanes. Usually you can only place a single plant, unless it has team up, in which case you can place 2. Zombies don't have team up. You can play a variety of plants or zombies heroes. The plants and zombie cards are all different. Put that one. There we go. There's an example of team up. We combine those two, they get a little bit extra. There we go. Of course, the aim is to kill the opposing hero. There's your HP. Normally, everyone starts with 20 HP. You also have 3 little armor pips. This is actually a mechanic, I think, that was lifted from Elder Scrolls Legends. And once you trigger the armor, the next attack doesn't do any damage, and it will immediately draw you a superpower card, which you can play for free, if you wish. So that's an element of player interaction that you happen to have on your opponent's turn. Get rid of that. Alright, so that's a zombie gravedigger. And let's get rid of that. There we go. So the way the phase system works is that the zombies go first every time, but the zombies' first phase only allows them to place creatures. Then the plants get to go. The plants can cast spells and place creatures. Then the zombies get another turn, which allows them to only cast spells. Once all that's done, the fight phase kicks in, and it goes from left to right, and everything in every lane attacks. And everything sort of resolves at that point. Alright, things are going relatively well. That's a gravestone. Some zombies come in secret, basically. They come in a gravestone, and that lets you play the zombie but not let your opponent know what it is until the fight phase, basically. Don't really have that many good options. I'm just going to pop that, I guess. I'm going to get rid of that. I don't want to drop that because it's not a particularly good use of my mana. Yeah, it's definitely got a bit of Scrolls in it. It's got a bit of Scrolls, a bit of Elder Scrolls Legends, and a little bit of Hearthstone. Bit of a mix between them. It's a nice little combination. There's a bit of Gwent in there too, I think. Although I have to admit I haven't played much Gwent. That zombie has Deadly. Unfortunately, that means that anything that gets hit by it is guaranteed to die. So I do want to watch out for that. Bit of a pain in the ass to deal with. Now, I was thinking of dropping this anti-hero card. Anti-hero does extra damage when it hits the hero directly, and that hits like a truck. The problem is, if you look at the top here, this little armor bar is almost full, and it's very likely that the next hit would trigger that. And if it does, then the attack is completely negated. So, I'm not playing that because of that. And I'm going to wait to burn out the first pip of armor, and then I'll drop that. See, there you go. Every time the enemy hero gets hit, they get 1 to 3 pips of armor. And that's random. And when your armor bar fills up, you trigger your super armor. That immediately drew him one of his 4 superpowers, which varies on the different heroes. He could have played that immediately for free if he wanted. He evidently didn't. Now, I'm kind of allowing him to set a board up here because my next turn, I have one of these, which is ridiculously powerful. And it's basically a board wipe, so I'm setting it up in a specific way to try and allow it to happen. I'm going to deliberately chump block this lane. He does have 6 brains, so he could play a trick which might be able to shut this down, but we'll see what he's got. But yeah, playing gravestones is like playing a card face down, basically. It's kind of like a secret, but a lot of the cards do play that way. Alright, it's triggered my first thing of super armor. I could use this spell right now, but I'm not going to, because it would fill the lanes up. One of the key elements of this game is not filling your lanes up with shit cards, because if you do that, you can't play anything until that stuff's out of the way. So I'm deliberately not playing that, so that I can then play this, which, unfortunately, I can't play this turn. I got my amount right. I can do it next turn, though. So, actually, what I will probably do is chump block with this spell now. Block those lanes. Whack that there as well. Let him fill his board up with powerful stuff, and then sweep him with this. And then that should be a win. Because this card wipes the board and then can attack, assuming that he doesn't play a spell before that, which would be a game ender. It's Android and iOS, and it's crossplay. So that means you can take your account, you can sync it up, and you can play it on any device. I've got it like on my PC, using BlueStacks, my Android phone, and my iPad. And you can use the same account for all of it, which is great. And it's free, of course. And now he's about to get wrecked. I also drew my most powerful spell, the second best taco of all time. Alright, so basically what I'm doing here is waiting for him to play these cards, and now I'm going to drop this, and he's going to cry. Kind of like this. Yeah, I'm aware you can't see my cursor. I turned that... I'll try turning it back on. It didn't look too good in my XSplit test earlier, because of the emulator, but I'll see if it works. Hang on. Layout. One sec. BlueStacks app player. Show mouse. Alright, yeah, it actually looks fine. There we go. Got mouse. And he's dead. The win condition for this deck is mostly ramp up until you have access to that card, and then wait for him to fill his board up, then completely wipe it out with that. And it works pretty well. Solar Flare is very much a kind of ramp-orientated hero. Think Druid in Hearthstone. You can play quite a few cards that give you extra mana, so you can play more powerful cards earlier. Yeah, so the business model is very similar to most CCGs. I'll show you what's going on with it. As you can see, it's advertising stuff here. Although the way it does it, I think, is actually a bit better than Hearthstone, because it gives you more choice. So, just like Hearthstone, you can craft cards. You have a single-player mode, which lets you unlock a bunch of cards. You get a bunch of cards for free. You have different heroes, and heroes consist of a combination of 2 different suits. So, let me show you an example of that if I go to my collection. There we go. These are the heroes that I've currently got on the plant side, and these are the heroes that I've currently got on the zombie side. You unlock a bunch of these heroes for free, and extra ones come in card packs. So if you see the 2 colors on either side, these represent the suits. So, for instance, if we're playing that nut guy, then he can play cards that are from the Guardian tribe. And if we scroll down, I think his... I can't remember what his other ones are. I think the other one is... Yeah, yellow, whatever yellow is. Unfortunately, scrolling on the emulator doesn't work amazingly well. Come on. Yeah, and you get... dragging works better. There we go. And these other one's solar. So you could play from Guardian and Solar. And you can pick a hero that's sort of a combination of the two that you want. So multiple heroes can play the same cards. Like, for instance, Rose, Solar Flare, Walnut can all play solar cards. And then you build your deck out of that. When it comes to card acquisition, there's a ton of quests which give you a bunch of premium currency. Like, getting premium currency for free is really easy. And as a result, you can open packs with that. There's basic packs and premium packs. Basic packs have a lot of the really solid cards that you actually need. You get currency for basic packs all the time. You're literally drowning in it most of the time. And a lot of these are your basic, run-of-the-mill, you need these cards to be able to win kind of cards. And the premium cards are generally a bit weirder. In terms of the packs, you can buy different kinds of packs. And the nice thing about it is that they often give you special offers which are sort of customized. So if there's a specific card that you want, there's more often than not a custom offer that'll give it to you. Alternatively, let's say I only want plant cards, I could just buy a plant pack. If I only want zombie cards, I could just buy this pack. Multi-packs give you more stuff. In the case of the food fight bundle, you're guaranteed certain cards, and like every day you get special offers for that. Which to me is a better model than Hearthstone, it's just more flexible. It's less random, and more to the point, you can then, if you have spare cards, just DE them for what are called sparks, which is basically dust, and then just craft what you want. Kind of that simple, really. The cards that you get in premium packs are not more powerful, necessarily. A lot of them are just different. The basic ones are sort of the more your bread and butter meat cards, whereas premium cards, generally, this does weird shit. But the thing is, you get currency for both. Like, you don't have to pay for any of it. I don't think Jen has paid for a single card yet, and she's got a lot of cards. It helps that you can just play single player to get this stuff, and you can get quests all the time as well. So, if I play 3 beans, I get 10 gems immediately. Also, every hero has its own quest line, and this unlocks a ton of premium currency per hero, as well as a ton of like things like sparks for crafting and free cards. So that's nice. So there's a bunch of different ways of getting them. I think like model-wise, it's a hell of a lot fairer than something like Hearthstone. I think like because I like paying for games, I think I've spent 60 bucks on this, whereas I've probably spent thousands on Hearthstone, and actually have most of the cards at about 60, which is not unreasonable. And if I'd just spent more time playing, I would have got a lot of that stuff for free anyway. I'll show you the zombie heroes. Let's see, what's my good one? We can play Zemek 2, I think. Where's Zemek 2? There we go. So I built this deck to be really annoying to get rid of. It's a lot of very tough armored zombies that take reduced damage. It takes a little bit of getting used to playing the zombies because they play at a bit of a different tempo because of the way the phase system works. Incidentally, you can mulligan every card individually, which is actually quite nice. Good. Yeah, yeah, there we go. That's good. The screen width is a little annoying, but again, it is designed to be played on a phone or a tablet, not on a PC, so that's why. The way the menus, bear in mind, the menus are kind of bugging out because I'm playing on an emulator, not an actual phone. That doesn't happen on a phone. So as I mentioned earlier, I can only play minions to start with. The plant then gets to play minions and spells, and then it passes the phase back to me, and I can play spells. I'm not going to play spells right now. Once I click that, then that triggers the fight phase. These two are considered one minion. Anything that's a team-up attacks at the same time, so they're not two individual attacks. What I can do here is, if I play my armored zombie in this lane, that reduces all damage by 1. So I will take a hit here, but I won't die to it. As I said, they both combine together. So the lanes actually do different things. The height lane, which is this one, the one that's up high, certain minions get a bonus on it. And the aquatic lane, you can only put an aquatic creature in it. So a lot of people don't even play aquatic creatures, so this lane often ends up being empty. It's good to include one or two. There's not that many of them, and generally aquatic cards are more expensive than regular cards. Their stat budget isn't as good, but it does allow for a lane where you can attack freely more often than not. It gives you a bit more space as well. Interesting little sort of way of modeling things up. Speaking of modeling things up, let's blow them up. Off you go. But yeah, I have a deck that has quite a lot of aquatic. Mostly exploiting the meta right now that most people don't play aquatic cards. So those guys generally go unopposed. Yeah, some spells only affect things that are on the ground as well. So generally speaking, like, the height lane is, like, I believe in most situations objectively better than the regular lanes. Also, of course, bear in mind that the lanes attack in order, so placement is quite important. Especially when trying to avoid triggering super armor. Alright, we'll go with... we could play the... Yeah, let's play that one. This one takes no damage this turn, so that's nice. But yeah, it's interesting enough to just... I mean, I've played it so many hours of this over the past month. I mean, I've been traveling for the last 2 weeks, so having a game that I can play on the move is kind of important. I could buff a zombie, that's gonna sting, but we'll hold on to that for the time being. Also, I just think production value-wise, it's very, very good. Like, every card has its own individual attack animations, injury animations, summoning animations, it all has its own VO. Like, there's more production value put into this than there is into Hearthstone. Where a lot of the cards are basically just, like, they're an image with a little circle around it. Not to mention that a lot of them are really quite funny. I think, like, some of the design is really, really good. Like, for instance, this is Zombie Turkey Rider. They got quite creative with it. The single player also has, like, comic book story cutscenes and things like that. The whole idea being something happened and everyone's superheroes now, for whatever reason. Oh, that fucking card! I hate that so much. That's Alex Straza on crack, by the way, that one. Really fucking stings. Best way to deal with that. Yeah, we'll do that. Buff everything else. The turkey is also a zombie. There's a zombie walrus rider in the game. That's also a zombie. On the plus side, we have lane control. On the not so plus side, we don't have much health left. Don't go there, please. There we go. That's okay. We can buff to survive that. Yeah, let's do that. I think I want to buff that turkey, actually. There we go. I'm talking about sticky minions. This one is really fucking hard to get rid of. It's got armor 2. So every piece of damage it takes is reduced by 2. Very hard to remove. The game has Zombie Dolphin. Yeah, Zombie Dolphin Rider is a card. It's a 3/2. It goes in the aquatic lane. But it is a card game, yeah. Again, a bit of Scrolls, bit of Elder Scrolls Legends. Yeah, I can see where the confusion's coming from now. And a bit of Hearthstone. Thrown in for good measure. A lot of the other Hearthstone-like games play too much like Hearthstone. This doesn't, which is a nice thing. The turkey is dead. However, I do get leftovers. While I'm on 5 HP, he's on 1. This could go either way. I've also noticed that this game has a big tendency of swinging one way or the other. Mostly because of the armor mechanic. It allows for big comebacks, which is kind of fun. This is a Rolling Stone. Without asking what that was. Yeah, it's just a card that gets rid of something with 2 or less. GG. I mess around with this one I've been playing for a while. This has got a lot of aquatic stuff in it. They just released a new card called Mayflower, which gives you, like, a random, I think, fruit, squash, or bean whenever you hit an enemy hero. Which is quite nice, because it also goes in the aquatic lane, and most people don't play cards in the aquatic lane, so you generally get a lot of free shit from it. If you want to see a broken card, by the way, this one. You get a free random plant in every other lane. But that's basically the Yogg-Saron of this game. Why do I think scrolls failed so hard? Game length, mostly. Also, pay up front doesn't really help when trying to grow your audience for a game like that. CCG players are generally used to free-to-play. This is an ideal start. This deck's mostly based on freeze combos and stuff like that, so not getting the opening freeze combo is a little bit of a pain, but hey. Zombie Dog Walker. A surprisingly strong card, in my opinion. One of the best opening cards for a zombie. It's 2/2 for 1, which is great value, and when a plant is played, it moves to that lane. So it shuts down, effectively, any players that try to open with something like a Sunflower, which gives you extra mana, because the Dog Walker will just move there and eat it immediately. Kind of reinforces my point that some of the most powerful cards in the game are just the basic stuff that you can easily get, the starter cards. Alright, this is the freeze combo I was looking for, but it's a turn late. Basically, this card gets power every time you freeze something. So I think what I'm actually going to do... I really don't want to leave that up, because it makes zombies cost 1 less, but we're gonna... Oh! I accidentally just shrunk my window. Thankfully that... Don't think that matters too much. Apologies for the rattling. There we go. I wish BlueStacks would just lock a window size. That would be nicer. There we go. Yeah, this only came out about a month ago. This year's been good for kind of competitive phone games. Clash Royale is very, very popular. And people's like, oh, Clash Royale's so casual. You have no idea how many esports guys play Clash Royale. If you did, you'd probably throw up. Almost every esports pro gamer you know actually plays Clash Royale as well. Most of them are in the same clan as well. I'm in with them, I know this. It's because it's one of the, it's one of the only quick competitive phone games that you can get. I don't know why you're surprised, because, frankly, that game is based on a Warcraft 3 mod, which everyone played back in the day, so of fucking course they play it. It's basically like a mobile Warcraft 3 mod that can be played in 3 minutes, so lots of people really like it. Armored up. So this guy's Frenzy. If he kills something, he gets to attack again, which stings. As the Mayflower was talking about. You get a free card out of that. Oh my god! It drew me the Great Zucchini. That's a spoiler card. Have I played Minion Masters? I have not. What's that? Is that a Clash clone or whatever? I'd be interested to see if it does anything better than Clash Royale does. Zombie Medic. I can transform one of these into a different zombie type, but I'm getting a bit overwhelmed at the moment. I'm going to put one of those down and probably go for a freeze. That seems like the way to go. I was thinking, can I kill anything? I can. Let's do that. Freeze up this guy. I'll also get a buff when this hits as well, so it's good. That's Clash Royale on PC from the Force dev team. Really? Huh. Interesting. I might check that out. Force Showdown was a fun game. And we get the block. Transform the zombie with the highest attack into a 1-1 goat. I'm gonna hold on to that for the time being. None of these guys have very high attack. There's the freeze, which gives him another buff. Yeah, I'll have a look at that. It would make sense for that game to come back to PC, considering that's where it started as a Warcraft 3 mod. Fucking Castle Fight. Yep, not a lot of people know about Castle Fight, but that's basically Clash Royale. It's almost identical. Obviously without the free-to-play model, which, to be fair, is a good thing, because the free-to-play model in that game is not good. It's got better, but... That's a fucking zombie kangaroo, because of course it is. It bounces, which means it goes back to the hand when it takes damage, but if it gets killed, that doesn't count, so that's irrelevant. I could turn it into a goat, and in fact I probably will. You are now a goat. I just love that they've put fucking effort into animating the zombie goat. I love it. Alright. So we're gonna get freeze there. Just thinking what is the best option. That's gonna die and get frenzied. I don't want that to happen, if possible. Don't really have much of a choice. I could transform it. Yeah, let's do that. Actually, no, I should really hold on to this. That's a much better way of dealing with more expensive stuff. Let's cast that. That's gonna put some beans in my deck. Yeah, I'll take an extra hit, but it's not too bad right now. I'm not winning, but I'm not losing too badly yet. Yeah, it's a polymorph. Also, this keeps getting buffed up right now, and he's not dealing with it, so... That's gonna really sting. Oh god, I keep forgetting that also buffs him too. Yeah, now I need to get rid of that. There's the freeze, that buffs that again. If I survive till turn 9, I can zucchini the whole fucking thing, and then they all turn to 1-1s. Ah, it's Tumbler Bean. As you can see. I'm tempted to drop that. That's gonna drain all of his brains. But I'm thinking right now I actually need to poly this, because it's doing way too much damage. Okay, now you shit. And that actually draws me that. Yeah, the bean card is interesting. It puts 4 of these little beanstalks in your deck, which are 1 mana 4/4s that have card draw, which is ridiculous. And you know what, we're also gonna pop down a sunflower in the back for extra mana. Android emulator is actually surprisingly demanding, so as much of a joke as it is. Yeah, I felt like recording a video today, but people were shit on the internet, so you're like, you know what, whatever. I might still do it anyway. I've been spending the last couple of days prepping my Titanfall 2 video, getting the footage I need for it. And I've also got a video coming on the survival mode for The Division, which is surprisingly good. But frankly, I'd rather sit around streaming something I enjoy when people are being shitheads, so whatever. Now I have 9 mana. Which means I can play that, which is a horribly powerful card. Not gonna... Actually, do I have lethal if I play that? I think I do. Yeah, I do. So, fuck Gargantuls and fuck you. The Great Zucchini! Shuts you the hell down. And that is exact lethal. Bam. From 20 to 0. I say EA really should consider putting this on PC. It would probably do relatively well. There's no reason not to. I mean, it's not a short game. It's about the same length as a Hearthstone match. Also, we spent the last couple of days working on my arbitrary awards stuff, because that video takes about a month to put together. But of course, some people don't seem to understand how that works. They're like, oh, the content drought, the content drought. I'm just fucking through pretending that I'm okay with people like that. I don't see why I should. You know, why should I fucking not express my feelings on that? I mean, frankly, the fucking Trump thing in particular proved to me that there's no reason to treat people who are disrespectful with respect. It's like, it's tolerance of the intolerant. People could say, oh, like, that what I said was unfair, but the response to it was even worse than that. Completely disproportionate, so what the fuck ever. It's like, I'm sorry if I offended some of the moderates, but I'm certainly not sorry for offending the fucking bigots and the extremist fuckwits. It's like, why the fuck should you apologize for triggering Paul? Zombie chimney sweep. Don't want to transform him? Not really. Yeah, I guess I'm just going to have to accept that I'm going to lose that card. I mean, really, it's only a 1-mana card. I don't see why I put so much value in it, but I think it's mostly down to how much it can snowball. There we go. I do need to handle that. I'm just trying to think of the best way to do it. Ranking, there's a Master League. I'm not sure how high that goes. It might be rank 40 or 50 you have to get into what's basically legendary. What does the gold icon next to the shield mean? That's your mana. Plants get sun and zombies get brains. They're both functionally identical. Do I want to block it with that? I really don't. I think I might have to just take another turn's worth of damage. I'm going to hit super armor probably on this hit anyway, so... Oh, now I'm not. He's going to do a bonus attack. I might still get the super armor anyway, which actually... Oh, I didn't get it. I had a 33% chance of not getting it. Now, I'll get it on this hit. And then I can transform this into a goat. It's so amusing that people thought, it's like, oh, you offended so many of your fans. Are you kidding me? Like, about 90% of my viewers are fucking Swedish. You really think they're going to be offended by that? Jesus. And I don't really have time for people that don't have the fucking empathy. It's like, we had a very real concern about our health insurance. I was like, yeah, I'm pretty concerned about this life and death situation right here. You should respect our political opinions. No. No, I don't have to do that. Because I'm kind of concerned about not dying, which I think is a pretty fucking valid concern, all things considered. And then, of course, a bunch of fucking people that don't understand our health premiums. You just want free healthcare. We pay for our healthcare. We have private healthcare. Well, the ACA doesn't affect it. Yes, it fucking does. The point is the ACA stops insurance companies from dropping those that already have insurance. It's not about pre-existing conditions and denial of initial coverage. It's about stopping companies from dropping people in the middle of treatment. Which happens a shitload, or at least it did, until the ACA came in, making it illegal to do so. But, yeah, that's then expecting people to post on fucking 4chan to actually understand how the law works, which is never going to happen. I mean, you only need to look at all the shit that's happened since his fucking election to realize how terrible an idea it was to vote for him. It's like, congratulations, pretty much everyone that voted for him is now getting a tax hike. Hey, I'm gonna do great off this. I'm gonna probably make 15 to 20% extra. Because, hey, I'm the 1%. Everyone else is gonna get fucked. It's like, did you look at his appointments? You've got a climate change denier as your head of the EPA. You have a creationist as your head of education. You have Newt Gingrich. Drain the fucking swamp? Are you kidding me? How fucking corrupt can you get? You got your asses lied to you. And you know what? I'm fucking sympathetic. I really am. But in order to actually be sympathetic, you've got to turn around and say, oh, you know what? Okay, I made a mistake. And you know what? At that point, I'll say, okay, that sucks. That really sucks for you. It sucks for the rest of us too, of course, but I got sympathy for you. That's cool. Welcome back to the fold. Welcome back to sanity and reality. Yes. Oh, of course, we have the homophobe for VP. Yes, I believe in gay conversion therapy. I'm a sensible vice presidential pick. Are you kidding me? They're too busy getting confused over Hamilton the town and Hamilton the fucking theater production to realize what the hell's gonna happen to them. So yeah, don't mistake contrition when it comes to saying that, oh, you're not all a bunch of racists, to actually liking Donald Trump. He is a piece of shit, and continues to prove that every fucking day. Alright. Anyway, in the meantime, we're losing, so let's try and handle that. LOL mainstream now. Yeah, okay, yes, I love that. Should I go to fucking InfoWars? Yeah, tell me more. Fucking Alex Jones will tell me about the gay frogs taking over the government. Mainstream media narrative. You know what? When 99% of people post the same thing with multiple fucking verified sources, that's not the mainstream media narrative, that's the fucking truth. He is a con man. You have been conned. Congratulations. And you're the ones that are gonna get fucking hurt by it, not me. Are you kidding me? Look at the amount of money I've got. I'm fine. I'm the kind of person that Donald Trump is appealing to. Would I vote for him? No, because I'm not a fucking idiot. Jesus Christ. I totally get why people didn't elect Hillary. Hillary's shit. But also, it takes a lot to actually lose the popular vote by more than 2 million to such a shit candidate. What mandate? And frankly, if you want to unsub from me for thinking that, cool, great. If you only valued me for my fucking video game opinions, like, I value your honesty! Yeah, sure you do. Except when I say things you don't like. Tell me more about all that respect. Tolerance of the intolerant is a weakness. Alright. I think I've, in the middle of this, actually lost this game, but hey. That's my fault. Chump block that. Bean here. Freeze that. Don't get me wrong, the mainstream media fucking failed when it came to leading up to the elections. But there is a massive difference between that and saying literally everything any mainstream site says is a lie, despite the multiple fucking sources indicating to the contrary. It's a fucking circus is what it is. Ah, there we go. The comeback begins! Wipe this fucker. But yeah, I totally respect people's right to not watch my content if they don't like my political views. But to be fair, I also think that's pretty fucking childish. I sub to plenty of people that have the polar opposite political opinions to me. I'll even read stuff that's on sites that is like, oh, you can't read that. I go and read esports news on Breitbart because Richard Lewis is a good fucking journalist. Does it mean I like Breitbart? No. Breitbart's fucking terrible. It's called having nuanced adult opinion. Now I lose, incidentally, but GG. Again, I can understand sort of, you know, voting for him on the way up to the election, if you believed what he said. I mean, I don't see why you would, but okay, cool, you believe what he said. You believe who was worse. Alright, sure. That's fair. I still think it's a bit odd to elect someone who is so obviously awful with everything he said, but okay. But when it comes to after the election, it's at that point you have to actually stop blaming Hillary for everything. Hillary doesn't have a job anymore. Hillary's out of the picture. Hillary's irrelevant. And then you have to start looking at what he's actually doing now, or what he's saying he's going to do now. Not only has he walked back most of the things he claimed he would do already, which, in my opinion, is good, but of course that means he literally just violated campaign promises to you before he even got elected. But now he is appointing the worst of the worst of the worst. Oh my god. Drain the swamp? Newt Gingrich is draining the swamp? He's a climate change denier. How do you fucking support a science denier? You have to be insane to do that. Or just deny reality. Not to mention giving the nuclear codes to someone that gets triggered by people on Twitter is probably a terrible idea. Why do you think I should never be president? I'm fucking terrible on social media. I shouldn't hold any kind of office or responsibility. Jesus. I don't think it is better than Brexit, although to be fair, the way the UK's doing shit at the moment is horrible as well. Their recent fucking porn law, not to mention the shit that they're doing with internet history, is diabolically evil. Just awful. Need card draw. What's the point in draining the swamp if you go and then fill it with worse things? And then we talk about the conflicts of interest. I mean, the guy's refusing to put shit in the blind trust. Is like, oh, my kids can just own it. No! That's a massive conflict of interest! You have direct influence over most aspects of the country. You can't own companies in the process. Because then the shit that you do directly influences policy. That you can't do that. That's terrible. That's horribly corrupt, obviously. And of course we've got the thing, yeah, I'm going to meet with foreign leaders. I'm going to have business meetings with foreign leaders. What? No! You can't see how terrible that is? I mean, to be fair, I'm preaching to the choir here, you know? There's three kinds of people when it comes to my subs, you know? There's the people that already agree with me in this in the first place, so, you know, again, preaching to the choir. There are the people that understand that I have a different political opinion to them, and they can still watch my content because my political opinion doesn't affect my coverage of video games, because of course it doesn't. And then there are the people who are actually genuinely upset to the point where they'll unsub, and you know what? That's fine, because that's how the free market actually works. If you choose not to consume the content, that's cool. But I take responsibility for that. I take full responsibility for that. As long as I am not lying. You know, there's a reason I apologize for my initial statement. Because it was overly emotional. There's no doubt. It painted too many people with the same brush. I get that. That was a mistake on my part. People make mistakes when they think their fucking livelihood, or indeed their life, is under serious threat. It's funny how that happens. It's like, I don't understand how you could possibly be emotional with your current state of mind and your current state of health. Really? Where's your empathy, mate? How can you not understand that? It's going to understand your economic anxiety, and then you don't understand my, oh yeah, you have cancer and you think you might lose your health insurance coverage and die. I'd say that's a pretty damn good reason for most of what was said. That does not affect my ability to look at video games. Oh yeah, that's just how people are, unfortunately. They talk a big game when it comes to like, oh yeah, I'm totally about freedom of speech and respecting your opinions, even though they're different to mine, and then as soon as you get into a position when that is not the case, they immediately lose their shit. Just want to point out, they're floating Sarah Palin as fucking Secretary of the Interior. That is insanity. I don't have a lot of respect for liars. I don't know if you've noticed that. It's sort of been a cornerstone to my business model, that honesty is the best policy. And that includes saying things that people don't like some of the time. It would be dishonest for me to suggest that I think Trump is going to be a good president. Yes, I'm sure Trump does think that Secretary of the Interior is literally an interior decorator. Man of the people Trump with his golden elevator. Yes, he's for the working man. Sure. What? Come on. Wouldn't bother me so much if there wasn't so much intellectual dishonesty about the whole thing. It's like, just be honest and say the reason that you voted that is because you didn't like Hillary for God knows what reason. I mean, I get that. I don't like her either. She's terrible. She's not as bad. And I also get the whole idea of, you know, don't vote for lesser of two evils. That sucks. Let's try and break the cycle. Wrong kind of time to do that, admittedly. In order to do that, you've got to fix the Electoral College. You've got to fix first past the post, which you don't do by voting third party right now. But I get why you did it, you know. The only person I ever had to apologize to was my wife for what I said on election night. And I regret that a lot. You know, that was a horrible thing for me to say to somebody. I also understand why she went public with it, because she felt like she had no other choice. She felt backed into a corner. Yeah, I'm gonna regret that for the rest of my days. I get that. Certainly don't regret the rest of it, though. Oh, the DNC can go to fuck itself as well, by the way. Fucking over Sanders was the stupidest idea they ever had. Absolute idiot. And yes, for the record, of course, I was a Sanders supporter. Why wouldn't I be? I'm a left-wing British guy. Sanders is the closest thing we have to that. Of course I would support that. I absolutely think Bernie got dicked over. By the DNC to some degree, and of course by the mainstream media as well. Without a shadow of a doubt. You just have to look at the way the coverage was slanted. You just have to look at who got the airtime and who didn't. There was absolutely manipulation going on there. There's enough solid evidence to prove that. I mean, again, though, I do understand why they would support Clinton. Obviously, she'd been there for God knows how long, you know. But the whole "it's her turn" idea is not democratic, and it doesn't make any sense. You put up the best candidate for the job, not the person who has earned it through time spent. Like, it's not a loyalty card scheme. You don't earn points that way. You put up the best candidate for the job who has the best chance of winning. This is a tough one, but I think we might have it. For those asking, yes, this is actually very cathartic for me. Very much so. This is not the sort of thing that I would ever do on my YouTube channel, but on stream, yeah, feels pretty damn good. And the only good thing about the election being over is we can now finally focus on the issue of, oh, you're doing a bunch of shit things and we should oppose you. Yeah, I have seen the UK investigatory powers bill as almost law. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely insane. It's literally police state. It's fucking awful. Yeah, putting Hillary up for a candidate was a mistake. There were too many scandals or potential scandals there. He should have put up a candidate with cleaner hands. Simple as that. But unfortunately, we all get affected by that. Oh, you want to see this overpowered card, by the way? Yeah, watch this. Free shit. It's kind of like... It is literally the Yogg-Saron of this game. Yeah, it is difficult to oppose when party controls pretty much everything. That's GG, unless he can block that line. I haven't read Jontron's interview on Breitbart, but I don't ever blame anyone for, you know... This is the same shit that happened with Gamergate years ago. You don't say, oh, you talk to this person, now you're an unperson. You know, guilt by association is bullshit. It's like, hey, you know, guess what? I also replied to one of Milo Yiannopoulos' tweets at one point. I may have even replied to an email from him once. I think he's a piece of shit, but that doesn't matter, because you talk to people. You don't get to dehumanize everybody. You don't get to say you're an unperson for talking to the wrong fucking website or whatever. That's nonsense. That's utter nonsense. And it works both ways, by the way. What we have seen, certainly from this election, is that that attitude is absolutely on both sides of the political spectrum. No doubt about it. And frankly, it wouldn't surprise me at all if Jontron did that to spite people, because I remember what happened when... You remember the whole PSN or PS4 is retarded thing that he went with? And he got blasted by the fucking games media for that? And by people on Tumblr who went after his job? Yeah, I can kind of understand why he would feel a bit resentful about that. This is a nice little game to just sit here ranting on stream with. It is cathartic. It's getting this out of my system so that I can get back to work later. It's a good idea, generally speaking. Bit of an odd decision to double block with that, but hey. This game doesn't necessarily like work in the same way as Hearthstone. It's like, oh, you know, that's an inefficient card trade. There's an element of that, but lane control is actually a bit more important. Speaking of lane control, I like these. These are 2/2s for 1, but whenever a plant enters the lane, they get +1. So they're really damn good value, and they force your opponent to do stuff they don't want to do, so I like that. Favorite class? I don't know. Rose is very fun to play. Mostly because she's got a lot of freeze and control, which is quite fun to use. And some of the freeze combos are quite overpowered right now. Yeah. Although, I am enjoying just playing the zombies, especially kind of gravestone heavy decks, because they're like, I like to screw over the opponent and then have them not know what's going on. Will there be Hearthstone videos when the expansion comes out? Yeah, probably. I don't know, I can't promise how long I'll play it for, because again, I'm kind of off Hearthstone at the moment, but we'll see what the new expansion does to generate a bit of interest. At least with the first few days where the meta's all shook up, you can actually play some stuff that is suboptimal and not get completely whomped for it. Whereas right now, you try and play anything that's even remotely gimmicky, you just die repeatedly. That's why I only play the Tavern Brawls. You could argue that Green Shadow, the starting hero, is better for freeze combos, yeah. Rose does have some really interesting control stuff, though, that I think is quite fun to use. That is a fucking cat. Because of course it is. pack off with Correndo? Probably happen. Depends when it releases. And how busy I am that day. These are going to really stack if there's a heal going off. But I don't see why that would actually end up happening. She's out of cards, so these guys are just going to get destroyed before anything happens. Do I drop the cake on the cat? Wait to see if it gets buffed first. Yeah, you can only play aquatic cards on the aquatic lane, which is the main problem. Most cards are not aquatic, and those that are generally quite expensive. The problem with this deck is that I actually don't have any aquatic cards in it. I rely mostly on removal instead, which means I'm getting, like, twatted in this lane. There's not a lot I can really do about it. On the plus side, I'm winning every other lane, so... Do I plan on having a look at the Gwen standalone? I am, yeah. I mean, I didn't really play much of it in the actual Witcher 3 games. I didn't really play much of Witcher 3, but yeah. Standalone seems fun. Yeah, today's plan is to try and get either the Division Survivor video done or the Titanfall video done. I was just finishing the single-player campaign for Titanfall first before I did that. Didn't enjoy that, honestly. I don't see why people will be surprised. I'm not the greatest fan of big scripted COD-like campaigns, and Titanfall is definitely that. Not to mention its writing is ridden with cliché. What kind of annoys me again is, like, when an FPS campaign doesn't blatantly have some sort of obvious pacing and progress going on, and Titanfall really does not do that. Like, I don't like games where, FPS, generally speaking, where you get access to pretty much all the weapons from the start. It's like, oh, they just dropped it, you know, and you can only carry 2. Stuff like Doom and stuff like Wolfenstein, where you clearly get more powerful weapons, then also upgrade those weapons as you go, provides a clear sense of progression. And then, of course, you end up fighting more powerful enemies. Like, Titanfall, I've noticed you don't really fight more powerful enemies. Like, you fight the same guys. There's a little bit more variety as you go through the levels, but you're mostly fighting the same dudes. You're still fighting the same grunts on level 5 as you were on level 1. And I absolutely hate that. Oh, potential winning condition. Absolutely hate that. If you ad block but serve, it's fine. That doesn't matter. Like, ad revenue compared to actual individual sub revenue on a person-by-person basis is pretty much negligible. Generally best not to ad block, though. Bear in mind that ads are turned off when you sub to this channel anyway, so there's actually no reason to have ad block on this channel in the first place if you're a sub. Because it won't make any difference. And it could often fuck with the stream in some way. Titanfall's multiplayer, I mean, yeah, it's fine. I don't like the map design. I think it's otherwise it's slightly better than the original, but it's very much a do-over. Like, 95% of the game is the same as it was. I still think the time to kill on pilots is too low. If you like the multiplayer, though, the game's worth it for that reason alone. And it probably has a little bit more longevity than the original Titanfall does, just because they reworked the progression system, so there's a lot to unlock this time. Which, to me, is not a good thing. But for a lot of people, they seem to enjoy that. Any particular reason you tend to finish more games lately? I don't think that's true. There's just certain games I really enjoy and do get done, and more often than not, if I'm too sick to actually do a video, mostly because my voice is fucked up or whatever, I can at least still play the game. I'm sort of, I'm on less of a schedule right now, so that's probably why, but no, I haven't actually finished many games this year. I finished a couple. But not many. Broken, overpowered, evil card. What do I want the next Battlefield game to be? Something that has different game modes in it. I'm sick of the Battlefield game modes. I'm sick of Conquest. I want to see more complicated game modes. That's actually like my biggest gripe all year for FPS, in particular, is just a distinct lack of complex game modes. You might be asking why I'm killing the 3-1, not the 3-2, because I don't really have a great answer to block an aquatic lane, whereas I can block the high ground lane. Have I tried Stardew Valley? I have no interest in playing Stardew Valley. It's not my kind of game. I don't really mind what setting they use for Battlefield, as long as they introduce new game modes and really overwork the complexity of that. Again, it's been the same formula for the last 5+ games, and that's quite enough. Call of Duty's guilty of the same, at least this time around. Which sucks. They could have done a lot with that, but they didn't. So trying to ride the storm out at the moment, get some more mana and hopefully not die and just turn it around later. I don't have board control right now, I don't have a good way of getting it. Overwatch has similar problems with game modes as well. Although I want to try that 3v3. They are with the fact that they're introducing the arcade is good in my opinion. I do understand why games have limited game modes though, because again you do end up splitting matchmaking queues. Titanfall has a little bit of a problem with that on like 2 of the modes. Normally the queues are fine, but for a couple of the modes they're very much not populated. And you can really run into problems like that. Did the Dishonored 2 patch fix anything for you? No. I mean, my new system does run it fine, but again, I do have pretty much the most powerful system money can buy. My laptop still runs it like shit, even on low. Dishonored 2 is a mess, performance-wise. Literally, the only way to sort of get over it is just through sheer power, just completely overwhelming it. Yeah, I'll piss a bunch of people off today, but I'm sort of getting to the point of not caring. It's like they... Considering what they said to me, why would I care? Pretty justified, I think. So the most frustrating thing lately is like feeling that way but having no way to really vent it. That's actually really annoying. Oh, he's down to 2. Can we finish him off? Possibly. It's going to be close one way or the other. I still play Mafia 3. I haven't actually got around to that. Oh, we can't play it yet. Damn. I was going to say I've got my board wipe, which would be the game ender, but... I do have the second best tackle of all time. That'll probably let me live. That heals me for 4. Yeah, doesn't surprise me that Digital Foundry reported that. I actually am holding stable above 60 at 1440p, but again, that's the thing with games like that. Like, there's no consistent performance for anybody. Which is why it's so difficult to do the whole, oh, it works fine for me thing. Because, yeah, you're right, like, whose anecdotal evidence is worth more? It's tricky. Oh, yeah, I definitely have to block that. I could take more damage, but actually, that's not going to matter because there's going to be no lane it can summon in. I could chump block that. That's probably the way to go. I may have lost this game. If I can survive 2 turns to get my board clear, I win, but we'll see. I'm actually kind of interested in Watch Dogs 2. Like, it looks like they may have fixed some of the problems I had with the original. So, we'll see how that goes. I'm definitely disappointed in Deathwing so far, but again, that is the beta, and I will give it a fresh look when it comes out. It definitely didn't... Oh! Oh! That's gonna sting! Bam! Yeah, frame rate instability and frame rate timing is one of the big problems with Dishonored. Like, It's something I didn't know much about frame timing until kind of recently when I read a bunch up on it on Digital Foundry about how it works. That site is great, by the way. Absolutely exceptional. And the idea being that even with high frame rate, if the frames are displayed at inconsistent rates, and there's a big millisecond gap, you actually get that feeling of lower frame rate. You get a feeling that the game is stuttering a lot more than it actually is. Which explains why quite a few games don't feel that good. Even though it's like, oh, the frame rate seems fine. Yeah, but the actual frame timing is inconsistent. Whereas in some cases, especially on console, I say well-optimized and then use the word 30 FPS as if that makes any sense, but a well-optimized 30 FPS game that has good, consistent frame timing will feel smoother than a 30 FPS game that does not. Ah, he has the one card that actually counters that, so we'll whack it elsewhere. Yeah, I started paying attention to max time between frames, so it's an option you can put on with Afterburner. You can put the frame time up. I mean, I'm not going to be talking as much about performance, because again, we run into the same problem. And people get fucking super salty about it, and it's just irritating to watch. Fucking r/PC game thread where some guy posted about the Deathwing stream, and then everyone lost their shit. It's like, oh, his PC's broken. Yeah, sure, my brand new PC is clearly broken. It's like, not that the beta's clearly, obviously, not working properly. Or the best one is like, I don't trust the stuff that I clearly saw on stream because you don't agree with my political opinion. It's like, oh, you're a fucking child. Software that's good for tracking frame timing. I use MSI Afterburner. Use the on-screen indicator. That usually tell you what it is. But I think what might be good, actually, is, like, I'm thinking of setting up a website, probably called worksfineforme.com, or something like that, which probably be a general sort of survey site where people can go and select either this game does work well for me or doesn't, submit their specs to match up with it, and then tell people kind of what issues they have, whether it be instability, whether it be crashing, whether it be frame rate, and sort of just have it as sort of an overall aggregate. And I think that that's kind of the best way to do it, because with so many PC configurations, you can have 90% of people that are running fine, but if even 10% aren't, that's still actually a big deal. This is an interesting card, by the way. I use this in my armor deck. So it just sits there. If there's a zombie on the board at the end of the turn that isn't that, it turns into a 5/5 Night of the Living Dead, which is a 7 value card. I had a lot of success with that guy. The problem, you know, the way to deal with them is to make sure there's no other zombie on the board at the end. I'm getting really shit draws here. I actually could have killed him. Come think about it. I should have put it in that lane and then just buried him, but whatever. I should use the mana. Yeah, I'm thinking that might be a site we set up. Because a lot of it really is like, can we take the information that we find on stuff like Reddit and Steam forums and condense it into a way that's searchable and numeric? Because if we can, then that might be a useful tool. And it eliminates a lot of the anecdotal stuff, which is, you know, obviously a problem. Especially if you force people to attach system specs along with it, because a lot of what people say is like, oh, it works fine for me. So, yeah, what do you mean by that? Like, one, what's your spec? And two, what is, like, your acceptable level of works fine? Are you talking about 20 FPS on low? Is that what you consider acceptable? Because, I mean, again, standards change on a person-by-person basis. So if you attach that information directly to something that has system specs with it, you can clearly see and sort of break down and make that information useful. Oh, fuck off! Yeah, with enough sample size, the fake entries wouldn't really matter. Also, again, you could force people like to submit DXDiag information with it in order to go through, so you can eliminate a lot of those problems. Some people would obviously have privacy concerns with that, but I don't view that as too big a deal. It's like, well, if you have privacy concerns, then don't use it. You can also set it up in a way that it's not going to process identifiable information. Yeah, Steam Hardware API would be probably a useful way to do things. This is going to fucking suck. He's going to turn that into a knight, which I was hoping to stop. I should have killed this guy a couple of turns ago. That was a misplay on my part. I should just drop the nut and then hit him with the 3. On the plus side, this will, if he puts one there, that'll be a decent-ish board wipe, and then I could probably... Can't finish it with that. It won't do enough damage. Tough, tough. This is ugly. That's only gonna do 2 damage if I hit him with it. I could wipe and... Yeah, it's gonna sting one way or the other. I think the best way to do it is drop that in the middle and then throw the nut at this. I'm getting really bad draws here. The mixed nuts is great, but only if you do a team-up. Otherwise, it's really bad value. And I've got none of my team-up stuff. I've got no sunflowers. I have 8 in the deck. Just very unlikely, but hey. Let's sort of see so there's a political argument going on in the chat at the moment, which has been going on for a while. Again, notice the difference between dealing with people who are disrespectful versus dealing with people who are respectful. It's like, do I agree with that guy's opinion? No, I think his opinion is very much misled. No doubt about it. But he's not being a dickhead about it. That's the main thing. That's what we lost in the last few years. We probably lost it even further back than that, is the ability to politely disagree. And it's just all become so emotionally driven now. It's really sad. And I'm not saying I'm not guilty of it, I'm totally guilty of it. This is a bastard of a card, incidentally. You can't die while it's up. Oh, now you show up. This is an example of this could not go any worse. And unfortunately, this doesn't get the buff even if I put it there now. We've lost this game, I think. I think the only thing we could do is chump block that and hope for a better draw next turn. Because that's going to trigger super armor, so... Yes, the polarization on politics is the big problem, I think. Don't worry about it. You're not going to find that content on my YouTube channel. People obviously don't want it there, so I don't put it there. Try to keep that stuff separate. What I'll probably do, incidentally, is a bit of content for this game on my StarCraft channel, because I intend to put some Clash Royale stuff there as well. Just sort of as a bit of supplementary content. I've kind of learned, I think, enough about this game to actually be able to provide some interesting information. Yeah, I really enjoy it. I think it's a very well-designed little game. And the fact that it's on mobile shouldn't really detract from that. It's one of the few mobile games I enjoy playing, although this has been good for mobile. I mean, you got the Total War port, which is actually good. SteamWorld Heist is fucking amazing on mobile. There's a bunch of other really good stuff. Yeah, I'm pretty dead here. Yeah, I'm 100% dead. GG. And one thing I'm fairly proud about for this chat, incidentally, is that we don't have a lot of disrespect. Like, we actually have a really good group of people. It's very, very rare that I have to ban anyone. I think our ban list for, like, the last 2 months, it literally has 2 people on it. Want to hear a silly Brit talk about American politics, listen to Sargon here. I don't agree with the vast majority of what he says, but again, I've listened to him from time to time. That doesn't make me an unperson. It's like you can listen to people that don't agree with you. And in fact, if you don't... Let's fuck around with deck building a little bit. I haven't shown you much of that. I'm gonna sort of tweak my Wall Knight deck. I played against a I Will Never Die Wall Knight deck, which is kind of the equivalent of a Fatigue Warrior. Fatigue isn't a thing in this game, but I did, by the end of it, want to just uninstall, because I can't kill this fucker! That said, you do have the cutest card in the world. Look at this motherfucker. Look at this cute motherfucker. It is the hibernating berry. It wakes up when it gets hit, and it has all sorts of adorable little animations. His little snoring. He's fucking good. The design. So good. Oh my god. It's the best. Wall Knight, incidentally, is mostly a tank. So he plays a lot of, like, I have really tough shit. A lot of team-ups. Oh, someone actually has? Oh, interesting. Is there a channel that streams this? Phone Cats. They have a nut. Interesting. I guess they must stream this on a regular basis. I don't watch a lot of mobile streamers for obvious reasons. I do watch a couple of Clash Royale streamers from time to time. Especially when there's a tournament going on. But... yeah. I mean, it's supposed to go stream from a phone's kind of tough. There's two, you can do it via Mob Crush, I think, but there's two main ways. Either run BlueStacks on a PC, or use, Air Parrot, I think, to basically do AirPlay from an iOS device through your PC. I've done that before when I streamed Clash Royale before. Although I think BlueStacks is a better way to do it. Especially since, honestly, playing Clash Royale on BlueStacks is kind of cheating, because you can hotkey things, and the mouse is more accurate than your finger. So it's a little unfair. But hey, sucks to be them. Yes, this is mostly a tough deck with a bunch of stuff that buffs up 0 damage minions. The main problem I think I have with this guy is I don't have a lot of stuff to sort of strike from the back. You know, Doomshroom's probably a really good option here. Because a lot of these guys don't really go above that. Different game modes. There's a bunch of single-player campaigns. Otherwise, it's ranked and unranked. It could definitely use a brawl mode. It has only been out for a month, so feature set-wise, it's a little weak. But hopefully the developer... Again, I think it's a very, very good game. It's really well designed. It's got a lot of love behind it. The business model is better than Hearthstone's. Quite a lot better than Hearthstone's, actually. I love the idea of just offering different packs that have transparency as to what's in them is great. Whereas Hearthstone's like, you gotta buy packs, and they have random shit in them. You can get random shit in this as well, but you get offered... You can buy packs just for zombies, you can buy packs just for individual heroes that contain cards that those heroes can use. You can buy packs that have guaranteed cards in them, and you get daily offers as well. And that currency you can earn in the game anyway. So you don't have to pay for... Like, I think there's like 1 or 2 packs where it's like you gotta pay money for this. But everything else is... No, you can get every card in the game without paying. And at a reasonable rate, too. Like, the fact that it gives you currency every time you win a game is awesome. There's a ton of quests that give you on a daily basis, more than Hearthstone. You can earn a shit ton of stuff through hero quests and single player as well. So, for an EA game, the business... I don't know why I'm actually surprised, because Plants vs. Zombies has always had a good business model. Garden Warfare 2's business model is really good, too. But you think because it's EA, especially on mobile, it would kind of suck. But it doesn't. It's... You know... Consider that my endorsement. Armored beats. There's also drop the beats, because of fucking course there is. I want to replace 2 things in here. Probably strip 2 of these out and put in 2 Doom Shrooms. Because I've been having a bit of problems like getting this deck going late game. This is a good board wipe. Let's go with that. Le content dread. It's as if, like, what gets me about people who say that, it's like, do you really think I'm doing it on purpose? It's because I literally can't. Like, last week I haven't been able to fucking talk. I think I'd cancel a podcast if not for that. I love doing videos, and not to mention, it's my job. I need the money. It's not on purpose. I just wish people would have just a little bit more understanding. Okay, cool, you've had a month where content hasn't been great. That sucks. I get that sucks. But give me a fucking chance. I mean... Chemo's really hard. People don't get that. It's so much harder than it was before. Like, it happens every 2 weeks, and it used to be that I could get back on my feet in 2 or 3 days. Now, like, I'm not 100% ever. Ever. Even after 2 weeks. You know, so that's why I go on these breaks like the West Coast or whatever. Because otherwise I wouldn't be able to handle it anymore. It's too much. There's a reason why most people quit this. Oh, I fucked that up completely. I should have put that in front. It's a reason why a lot of people just give up, and... You know, and I'm not going to give up, but holy hell. It's so difficult. It hurts all the time. And it's when people they can't, like, empathize with that, that's when I just lose patience with them. What the fuck is that thing? I've never seen that before. Oh, I think it's because this guy, like, can summon shit from a random side deck. I guess that's why he was able to play that. Huh, neat. We'll block that. We can now move that, give it +3. So it'll match up with that nicely. Yeah, I don't intend on giving up, but I'm not going to pretend this isn't hard. It's very, very difficult. Not to mention, like, that it fucks with your brain so much. Like, there's a reason why a lot of chemo patients become angry and irrational, and it's not just the fact that they're suffering, it's because their brain, their fucking neural pathways are literally being altered by the drugs. There's nothing you can do about that. Chemo brain's a real thing. You know, I take Adderall mostly just to get me through the day. Because otherwise I'm just, like, I'm in a fog. I can't function properly. Yeah, I wish ignoring the haters was an option. I really do. I can't ignore them. I'm just not wired that way. You know, there becomes a point where you're just, like, saying, look, this is just how it's going to be. This is just how I'm built. It's not fixable. There's no way to fix that. I wish there was. I don't want to be like this. Who the fuck would? But what can I do about it? Not much. Nothing. I've tried everything. Fuck's sake, I've tried therapy, I've tried drugs, I've tried God knows what. Well, it's hard enough to fight something that has such a low survival rate without the fucking internet also trying to contribute to your inevitable demise. Especially when they claim to be fans. That's the fucking worst thing about it, you know? Why do you think I hate that Cynical Brit subreddit so much? Because it's fucking disingenuous people that claim to be fans, and they're some of the most destructive people. And it hurts more when it comes from people like that. It always does. I misplayed that. I should have gone the other way. I would have given them 1 extra armor. That's what hurts the most, you know? You expect fucks from, like, 4chan or whatever to go after you. It's like, you don't care, because they're not your subs anyway. It's like they can try and hurt you, but they don't hit you in the pocketbook, so, you know, ultimately it doesn't really matter, but it's the people that, you know, you don't expect that from. That's what always hurts the most. And I wish it was a case of, like, oh, you can just, you know, ignore that and say the majority like it. It's like, yeah, they do. But that, it just doesn't register. It's hard to explain. I think, maybe it isn't as hard to explain. I think a lot of people do understand that. It's just like the way the human brain is conditioned is often to focus on the negative, not the positive. And, like, it's not a zero-sum sort of game. You can't say, well, there was 10 positive comments, so they cancel out the 1 negative. No, it doesn't. I wish it did. It, like, logically it should, and it's actually very annoying that it doesn't. You would try to be rational about it, and then it's infuriating that you can't be. It just doesn't feel right, but that is just the way of it. The brain is not always rational. Again, don't do the positive feedback thing. Like, we've tried that. It doesn't work. Again, it's like, I appreciate it, but that doesn't cancel a negative out. That's why I've tried to mostly avoid the negative, but it's so hard to. Like, without completely disconnecting yourself from literally everything, it's really hard to just do that. I don't know. I wish there was an easy way around it. This guy's kicking my ass, incidentally. And I mean, I'm not dead yet because I can be immune this turn, but I'm definitely pretty close. And I know that's kind of morbid to take to what I just said. It's like, I'm kind of dead. Wait, what? No. Don't mean that. People asking how the treatment's going. It's going well. I've got a scan on Monday. Like, it's going as well as it can. You know, if the stuff continues to shrink in the way that it is, then, you know, surgery and ablation may be an option. The main thing is it hasn't gone to another organ. That's when things will get really bad. You do what you can. I don't jump like that on that basis this turn, no. I don't know if I have OCD or depression. I may have some element of OCD, but depression, I don't know. It's hard to say. I think I've ever, like, been really genuinely clinically depressed, so I don't really know how it feels. And there's no easy solution. You can't tell people not to be shit, because people will be shit. And kind of talking about it makes it worse, because the people that do want to hurt you know that they have a way in. This is probably GG. Yeah, I'd say that's game. I will say on the plus side that talking about it does make you feel better. Like, it is a good way to vent. I think if anything, closing my SoundCloud was a mistake. Because it did make you feel better to post those rants and get that off your chest, you know? It does feel better. And the idea that it, like, hurts our business is just incorrect. It doesn't. Never has. Once you keep that shit off the YouTube channel, people are generally fine with it. This is a fun little streaming game, though. As I said, I'd recommend to everyone that does want a mobile game, give it a shot. If you're not, like, completely averse to CCG business models, I understand if you are. But I think it's, like, in terms of CCG business models, it's one of the better ones. I would obviously prefer that everything just went the LCG model, which is the living card game model, whereby it's used by Fantasy Flight, where you buy the box and that's got everything in it, and then you just buy regular expansions so everyone gets the same stuff. But I don't know if there's a digital card game that's gone that route yet. I don't even know if it would work, because, I mean, again, the premium card game model with CCGs on PC has generally not been successful. I mean, we saw how Scrolls went. Yeah, if I had a Windows Phone port, you could actually play it on the Windows Store on Windows 10. So it's a shame they don't have that. Just hibernating berries, ready to go. You will love this when it wakes up. It's fucking adorable. I think I'm mostly going to use my SoundCloud for non-gaming stuff. I really want to do more wrestling stuff. It's a really good... Wrestling to me is a massive distraction from real life, which is why I like it as much as I do, even though a lot of the product is shit. But there's lots of the product which is good as well. You know, NXT is excellent, and this 205 Live thing might be good. The wife basically has stopped watching most of it, which is why we stopped doing the podcast together, for the most part. She doesn't watch the product much anymore. She's more sort of invested in the storylines than I am, and when the storylines aren't good, it pisses her off, so I understand that. For me, it's less of that, and NXT in particular, I think, is still doing really well. Survivor Series, I didn't like Survivor Series as much as other people did, I have to admit. But it did have some good matches. I think the Lesnar-Goldberg thing was the right decision. It was a real surprise at the time. And honestly, like, it kind of needed a surprise. Yeah, let's hold on to this till next turn. I didn't like the Survivor tag match, but I did like the men's Survivor Series match. The women's match was a bit of a mess, which was a shame. It wasn't bad, just wasn't great. Miz-Zayn match was good. It was generally a decent pay-per-view, but to me, like, TakeOver massively eclipsed it. The tag match at TakeOver was just astonishingly good. Is there a way to trigger your own damage buff cards? Yes, absolutely. There's a couple of cards where you can target your own stuff for damage. I just don't really have that set up at the moment. I got a bit unlucky that I was able to get rid of it before I really got it rolling. But we're not dead yet. It's not going incredibly well, but we're not quite done. Let's look at that heal as an option. It's like, either I don't really want to chump block with that. I think I'll put Armored Beats down, just take a little bit more damage, and then try to pull it back from there. the only issue I had with the Ms. Zane ending was that you can do screwy endings like that, but you've got to be very careful about how you present them on TV. It reminds me of the shit they did with Lesnar Undertaker 2 at SummerSlam, where the crowd was just confused. Like, if you're going to do screwy endings, you've got to make sure the audience immediately understands what you did and why. Oh, this is really painful. Oh, God. Doom Shroom is board wipe, though, right? It will kill my beats. But it is a board wipe. So we should probably go with it. Oh, shit, it kills 4 or more. I'm an idiot. Oh, no. That was totally wrong. I misread it. I thought it killed 4 or less. Ah. God. I will get this berry rolling for you. I haven't been able to show you the berry waking up yet. This is gonna happen. What is the upper limit that people can see the difference with FPS? It depends on the person. It also depends on the game type. Like, it's less about seeing it, more about feeling it more often than not. And that can depend on a lot of things, like game type, control method, so on and so forth. I can definitely tell the difference between 60 and 120. Can I tell the difference between 120 and 144? No, probably not. I think we're gonna have to go soul patch here, because otherwise we're in serious trouble. It's gonna avoid taking a lot of the damage. I'm half tempted to put it, yeah, because is that gonna kill it before it gets to hit? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It'll tank all of that. I need to get rid of this big thing now, though. Otherwise, I'm in serious trouble. This is gonna die one way or the other. So I'll put it up front. Some people, I can also tell the difference between 60 and 90. I could tell that because of, Tribes was capped at 90, and you could clearly tell the difference between 60 and 90 there. Oh my god, that's really powerful. And that's game. Ow. Maybe. Oh, if a hero can't be hurt... No, that's going to die one way or the other, isn't it? Actually, no, it's got armor. It's not. So, if I set this up, that means the damage I take won't happen, which means that the soul patch won't take the damage, which means the soul patch survives, which means we actually do kill the fucking chicken next turn, maybe. Maybe. But yeah, it definitely comes down to the game. You can always tell the difference between 30 and 60 unless you're very inexperienced, regardless of the game. I can tell the difference between 60 and 144 in Hearthstone. There's just a smoothness of response there in animation. Yeah, I've seen the Linus test. The thing about that is, like, obviously, it's going to differ depending on just how experienced you are. God, what's the way to fucking beat this? I think I'm like one short of... I could put the beats up. That's going to die. That needs to not die, which means I need to not get hit to trigger that, which means I need to block all 3 lanes, which I can do, actually. Yeah, I can do that. Just got to do it right. Is there anything I can kill this turn with what I'm about to do? No. I can hurt it, though. Oh, God. Oh, God, I'm running out of time. Ah! Now I lose. GG. Well, I don't technically lose. I was too slow. But yeah, the more experienced you are, obviously, the easier it is to tell the difference. But it's very... In case of, like, seeing and feeling, it's easier to feel the difference than it is to see it. Like, if you watch a YouTube video, some people can't tell the difference between 30 and 60, but if you played that, you would be able to. This frame rate's not just about appearance. Frame rate is about response time between you and the physical interface. And that is absolutely impossible not to notice, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, oh, yeah, GG. Stings. Yeah, I can watch 30 FPS stuff, no problem. I mean, you know, movies are 24 for the most part. And there are some games where I'll definitely prefer streaming in 30, because it's usually... It's like, you're losing a lot, buy packs. Yeah, I probably should. Oh, incidentally, they have a pity option. I think if you lose 5 or 6 times in a row, you actually do get a free premium pack, because like, you're shit, you need better stuff. With Twitch, the way the bitrate is limited, you end up, for the most part, with a... a situation where you have to pick either 1080p 30 or 720p 60, because 1080p 60 at 4.5 megabits, which is the maximum that Twitch really supports for premium partners, is not enough bits. It's just blocky. Depends on the game. There are some, like, low movement games where you can get away with it. Like, something like this, which has a lot of static imagery. The way that compression works for video, especially with modern compression, is for the most part, what happens is the video doesn't show a full quality version of every single frame. And the more similar frames are to each other, the better compression works. So it's the reason why on YouTube, when you watch something like, say, Far Cry Primal, or maybe Titanfall, or Witcher 3, those generally look really bad because they have a lot of foliage, which means that on a frame-by-frame basis, there's a lot of changes. So, as a result, you have less information to work with per frame. That's kind of where most of the problem comes from. Do I take that hit and go for... I'm just trying to think, what can I do next? Yeah, let's go with that. A game like this, where there's a lot of static imagery, it'll look fine, but a game like Primal, with a lot of foliage and god rays and stuff, is gonna look bad. I remember the first time, I think was it a YouTube video I made of Dungeons & Dragons Online? They did an update which added weather to the first area as soon as you got out of the dungeon, and it was snow, and it made my video look like absolute shit, because there were so many differences between the individual frames. There's something also called keyframes, which is where there'll be a frame every X or so milliseconds, or X number of frames, where the frame will be full quality, and that's a reference frame that's used to sort of interpolate the rest of it. A lot of compression is like a bit of guesswork on the part of the compressor. It's like, this is what this frame should look like based on the information of the previous frame, not what the frame actually looks like. Ow. Technical thing I don't really understand is resolution. Theoretically, you can get a 1080p 20-inch monitor and a 60 with the same resolution. Yeah, the reason for that is it's just down to pixel size and so-called pixel density. And there's a technique that Apple uses which they call Retina, which is basically just high-density displays where they have a higher pixel density on a smaller screen, which makes it look sharper, because you're squashing more pixels into the same area. It's a similar technique to the idea of downsampling, where you would run a game at a higher resolution than your monitor can support, but it makes it look slightly better. Like, it's actually a pretty cool way of making of overriding aliasing, you know, the sort of jaggy edges. And on more powerful cards on lower-end games, you can run a game at 4K even if you have a 1080p monitor, and it's going to look a bit better. It's not going to look as good as it would if you're actually running a native 4K, but it will look a bit better. Like, it is an improvement. God, I'm going to activate this bear at some fucking point. God. But yeah, I mean, you think about how projectors work. A lot of projectors run at 1080p, and yet you're displaying on huge screens. The thing is that, of course, the further away you are from the screen, the less you actually notice. If you're right up close to a projector screen, like 200-inch 1080p projector, you could see the individual pixels as squares and blocks. That's kind of how it works. Ah, this bear is going to die because everything has deadly now. I am on a losing streak. I don't want to chump block that because it's just going to die immediately as well. Interested in doing Dota content? I like Dota, but I just don't have the time to really play it and be good again. You know, I committed a lot to getting up to like 3.2 MMR in solo queue, and it was a very stressful experience. And I do like playing, I think, Heroes of the Storm solo more. I don't like playing it with a team, mostly because, you know, I'll still get salty with a team. But solo, it's the same with Overwatch. It's just easier for me to sort of ignore the result when I'm playing with pubbies. If I'm playing with friends, you know, I do get very competitive. And some people don't like that. I was kind of annoyed, actually, that the footage from the Heroes of the Storm game with Krendor and Jesse was posted. Because, for me, it was just like, I just want to play with my friends, and they know how I act, and they're not offended by that. You know, there's a lot of, like, banter that goes on between the two of us, like, oh, you shit, why are you doing that? You know, mocking Krendor for not playing the objective is fun for us. But people that watch on YouTube don't get that. Like, oh, you shouldn't say that. So that's not how it works. I'm gonna have to play this, otherwise I die. But, yeah, there's definitely a difference between creating content for an audience and creating content and just playing with your friends. You act differently. Of course you do. I don't act that way to puppies because I don't expect anything more of them. I don't get toxic towards puppies as a result of that. I will get salty towards my friends because I expect more of them. We're probably going to lose again! I'm going to keep playing this deck until we get to activate this fucking bear. It's going to happen. Chump block, yeah. I fucking hate you so much! Zombie pogo stick bastard. It's getting rough. This is why I don't play my walnut deck very much. I think maybe it's not good. It probably relies on too much synergy, and you can't reliably get that with the draw. I think the banter with Terraria is different because it's a PvE game. Really, a lot of, like, how why Terraria was funny, and I explained that in that video a while ago, is that, it's Dumb and Dumber, literally. Like, the idea being that there's one person who is acting as if he's competent, and there's one person who isn't, and yet the competent person isn't actually as competent as he seems, and that's what creates a lot of comedy. But with competitive games, people don't look at it that way. They're just like, oh, you shit, and you're saying the wrong thing. At least with Terraria, since it's not competitive, people didn't get that salty about that. I mean, I'd say that talking shit with your friends is a very British thing, but it's not. Like, it happens with Americans as well, a lot. But, again, it's just how, the internet, people don't... Either they don't understand that, or they make the big mistake of believing they actually know the people involved, that they're part of that relationship. And that's not true. It's like, viewers are not part of the relationship between me, Krendor, and Jesse. And they don't really have the right to criticize it. Well, they have the right. It's just, they shouldn't. Come on, zombie dog walker, you come over here. You can manipulate this guy a little bit. Well, I was hoping to draw a Spine Apple next turn that's going to buff all three of those. If not, we can easily drop a team up behind it. So this is not a bad start. As to why I'm mad today, no, it's not because of the PC thing. Like, there was only one crit outside of that, oh, it's an ad. It's like, no shit, it's an ad. That's why it says sponsored in the title. You didn't have to watch it. It was part of the contractual obligation that I'm fulfilling. But no, I had nothing to do with that. It's mostly down to the people who are whining that there's, like, not enough content. As, like, I have been sick for ages, like, genuinely sick. And I've been on the East Coast for 2 weeks. Where I did produce content. I went to fucking BlizzCon and made a stage show, for God's sake. A lot more work put into that than anything I'd ever do on YouTube. But it's like, well, it's not the kind of content that I wanted, so it doesn't count. It's like how they say, like, co-optional doesn't count. It's like, co-optional fucking counts. It gets 300,000 plus views an episode. It's the second most popular gaming podcast in the world. Yes, it fucking counts. It doesn't matter that you don't believe that. I actually shouldn't have done that. I got my guy killed. But on the plus side, I got him killed as well. I should have put him behind there. I remember when people got mad that I said some of my audience are autistic and don't understand that. I was like, no, it's true. Like, I know exactly what autism looks like. I've worked with kids that have autism. There's members of my family that have autism. I know exactly how it works. It's not an insult. It's just a simple reality that some people don't understand more complex social cues. That's part of the disorder. That's how it works. So yeah, it shouldn't surprise anyone that gaming is often a safe haven for those that have that disorder. And that's a good thing about it, by the way. It's also why I think that it's, completely unreasonable to, the whole, like, over the last couple of years, like, saying, oh, fucking gaming is dominated by white males, blah, 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 blah. You know, they will just want to keep their clubhouse, like, no, they don't, but they're overly sensitive to what is basically for them a safe space. And I know you might not like the term safe space, and I'm not a big fan of it either, but what you have to understand is that, especially those of our age, when gaming was even less acceptable more socially than it is now, used gaming as a refuge to get away from things like bullying. And that's where they found acceptance. It's the same idea as people that found acceptance in, like, groups of people who are in alternative music culture, like goths and so on and so forth, or even hipsters, things like that. They're looking for acceptance, and that helps them. You know, that is good for them. Obviously, later, it's good to get outside of your comfort zone, but at that age, when you're very vulnerable, no doubt about that, you're still trying to find yourself and establish your identity. Being then told that you're, you know, a racist piece of shit, or, you know, a horrible man-nerd, man-child, all that kind of thing, by the media is genuinely harmful. Not to mention that gamers are extremely fucking sensitive to that, because we've been the beating stick of both popular and mainstream media for the last 20 fucking years. Huh? What does it feel like to be repeatedly told that your hobby is responsible for mass murder and all sorts of other shit, you know, and treated like a literal child? It's shit, is the simple answer to that. It feels really shitty, as everyone should be able to recognize by now. So I don't blame gamers for reacting badly to it, and unfortunately it leads to radicalization amongst a lot of people. You know, if they feel like they are that spurned by society, then some people will become radical, which is why you have the shit that you see online, especially with, like, the alt-right over the last couple of years. Why there is a crossover between video games and that, despite the fact that video games have been very traditionally liberal. The reason for that is that they've been told over and over and over again by the mainstream media, as well as alternate online sources, that they are shitty, and now you're surprised that they decided to believe you? You tell somebody that they're a piece of shit for years and years and years, and they internalize that. No wonder they became so vulnerable to indoctrination and radicalization by those people. It's the same fucking thing that happens with radicalized Islamists. And anyone else that's radicalized. You know, they've demonized for years, and then they internalize that and they become the demon. Of course they do. That's how the world fucking works. That's why you have to try, certainly, your very hardest. Finally, I won with this damn deck. You have to try your very hardest to be as understanding of those people as possible. Because they are often people who were vulnerable, and they were exploited. People took advantage of them. And that's real shitty. That is really shitty. Most popular gaming podcast, I believe, is Rooster Teeth, if you count them. They do a lot of non-gaming stuff, but yeah. Numbers-wise, on YouTube, we're the second most popular behind them, and YouTube numbers, plus, of course, our iTunes numbers, pretty much far eclipse anything else. Obviously, iTunes numbers are not publicly available for most shows, but what I've heard, like, yeah, we're bigger than the Giant Bomb cast and IGN's cast and stuff like that, significantly. Our iTunes numbers are, I think, about 70,000 per show, and then the minimum our YouTube gets is 250,000. And that's plus, of course, the people, you know, we're not counting the people that watch live as well. So yeah, I mean, our show is huge. Like, there's no doubt about it. There's a kind of reason why, well, apologies. Sorry, I'm still getting all this damn cold. You know, the two big reasons why we prioritize co-optional over everything else is, one, we have 3 big sponsors that pay a ton of money. You know, co-optional makes more money than everything else on the channel put together. That's the reality of it. Not to mention that it pays more than one person, you know, it pays Jesse, it pays Dodger as well. So, of course, it's a priority to keep that regular. We have contractual obligations to our sponsors, and if you make podcasts run irregular, they become less popular, for fairly obvious reasons. Get rid of that strike through if possible. Doesn't that Warframe using Unreal 3 engine? Heavily modified? I think it does. Yeah, Rooster Teeth's a big deal. I know we got invited to Rooster Teeth Expo actually next year. We might go. I think it's quite close to Dodger's wedding date, though. So I'll have to see. If it clashes with that or with Coxcon, obviously we can't go, but I love the Rooster Teeth guys. I think they're great. They're a real success story. And they got there the honest way, too. They didn't bullshit people. I have a lot of respect for them. That's why we have a lot of the Funhouse guys on. I'd love to have the other guys on, too. You know, we don't have, like, big connections to them or anything. So it's always awkward to ask people that it's like, hey, we've never spoken in 6 years. You want to be on our fucking show? But, yeah. Love those guys. Ah, this situation is not brilliant. I think I might move now. Yeah, I can move and block for the time being. Until I get something better. What's the chance of a live stream at the wedding? I don't know if that... I imagine Dodger wants to keep that private. And I don't blame her in the slightest. Warframe is the evolution... Oh yeah, isn't it like... evolution of that what they use for Dark Sector? Actually, yeah, I can't remember. I have to look that up. Oh no, it runs pretty damn well now. It used to run terribly. Warframe is a great example of a free-to-play success story. I got very put off that game because mostly, again, the way Reddit acted. It sucks that I allowed them to get to me like that, but it's like it's having you like what's the term? I spread your dreams, my dreams at your feet. Tread softly because you tread on my dreams. It's very much that. Like when somebody insults something you're passionate about, it stings a lot more. And obviously not everyone can share. It's more about a case of, like, understand why somebody is passionate about something. You don't have to share the passion, but just understand why they feel that way. Yeah, it's annoying when people are like, oh, you know, why do you fucking still cover StarCraft? It's like, because I'm passionate about it. Genuinely, really passionate about it. Is it a big money maker? Hell no. Absolutely not. We've made a loss on StarCraft for years. We make a very small profit on it right now. Is it worth the time investment? Monetarily, no. But that's not why we do it. Well, Kings, I'm very proud of what's happened, what we've done with Kings. We achieved stuff that literally no one else has achieved. You know, getting a third-party event like that on the stage at BlizzCon is massive. What we've managed to do with Blizzard, who are traditionally a very insular company that don't work with community third parties that much, at least they didn't, is unprecedented in many ways. And I think what we've also done with that is really shown Blizzard that they can work with others, and that if they do, there can be some really cool results, and I'm hoping that opens the door for other content creators too. It's not simply a selfish thing on my part, it's like, I want to work with Blizzard, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, that's great, but hopefully it also means that other people can too. I think Blizzard has a lot of reasons to be very suspicious of third parties. I think the Nostalvius thing in particular is a good reason for that. You know, they invite the Nostalvius guys over, and then the Nostalvius guys turn around 2 months later and shit on them. Yeah, and it's not good. Do I agree with Blizzard on classic servers? Not really. You know, I don't think classic servers would be as big a deal as most people make it out to be. Certainly, I think that there's a lot of rose-tinted specs going on there. Who genuinely want to play that. And if possible, we should be respecting that. You know, is it a potential revenue stream? Maybe. Would it be hard to manage? Most likely, you know, I don't think a lot of people really understand how hard it would be to officially maintain that. So, well, a private server can do it. Yeah, but a lot of those fucking servers have tons of problems. You can't have an official product that has that many problems that you have to pay for. Private servers get away with it because there's no expectation of higher quality there. Blizzard doesn't make shitty products. They can't get away with that. There's a new Donkey video, by the way, so I understand if you tune out and go and watch that. Thank God Donkey videos are usually short. Do we play? I think we probably do. Doomstream's gonna do more damage to me than anything else, I think. Yeah, it's got a soul patch in the middle. My board is ridiculously developed, but I'm just not able to break through them. That's kind of the thing about Walnut. You develop a big, hard-to-remove board, and then just grind them into the dust with it. I don't know who Donkey is. He's a famous black man. Oh, that fucking stings. Nah, he's cool as fuck. He's a shy guy. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, obviously his appearance on the podcast didn't have a lot of talking in it, but that's cool. I don't mind. Hell, we've had guests that have talked way less than him and that have certainly not had the same excuse. You know, he doesn't know us very well. It's hard to get comfortable, you know, but him and his girlfriend, they're some of the coolest people I've ever met. They're fucking awesome, awesome people to be around. Don't Doomshroom yet. Hold on to it until we lose our big guys, and then we can Doomshroom. Yeah, this is nice and casual play. Although, I will, once I have a bit more time, I will definitely go back to stream a bit more Civ. The patch fixed a lot of the problems I had with that game, so I'm very happy. So yeah, more Civ. People seem to enjoy watching that as sort of a chill-out stream. We're gonna wake this fucking bear! I've been saying I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna show you the animation when it wakes up. It's adorable. We better not die this turn. Is screen voice anything like his normal voice? Yeah, yeah. A little bit less lethargic, but it's definitely a thing. Wake the bear! The bear's awake. See, look at this shit. Look at how adorable this bear is. Holy fuck. It even swipes. Like, when it attacks, it just like, does it? Yeah. Little swipe. There's DLC for the new Master of Orion? Huh. I haven't played it much since its release, because there's definitely some development that needs to happen on Master of Orion that didn't, and I still think it needs to be modded to make the fights a lot longer. I didn't hate the new Master of Orion. I thought it was quite good in many ways, but let's pick a different zombie deck. I haven't been doing a lot with zombies. Is my Super Brains deck any good? I guess we'll find out. Starbound, Happy Jesse, maybe after Christmas. It's, again, like, it's been hard to even get my regular content out, let alone that. Streaming is easy. Streaming requires less prep. Streaming doesn't require accuracy, for one thing. You know, I spent the last couple of days recording footage for Titanfall, because doing a lot of that stuff live with the multiplayer is really hard, because it's a very high-intensity game. And I want to show at least decent gameplay. Yeah, turning on a stream isn't difficult. Is the Division expansion any good? Yes. Survival is really good. Better than the main game, in my opinion. It's kind of what I hoped from the game in the first place, really. The patch mostly fixes a lot of diplomacy issues and weird shit that the AI does that it shouldn't. That's mostly what it's about. I did try a bit of Killing Floor 2 last night, actually. I enjoyed it. It's pretty fun. I have no doubts of like, oh, it's not as good as the first one. The first one was jank as hell in many ways. I think I'll bear that in mind. So I think, you know, the second one is clearly better. But, you know, obviously people have expectations. And that's not necessarily unreasonable. Alright, so if we do this... I really want this thing to die before it snowballs. Do I know of anyone that makes long-form video game reviews? Well, one, I don't do reviews, first impressions. And I do make that distinction for a reason. People don't seem to get why. It's like, oh, you just use an excuse to avoid criticism. It's like, no, I don't need to avoid criticism because I put a label on my fucking videos as to what they are. You don't get to criticize me for not having played 50 hours when the video clearly says this opinion is based on, like, 10. Because you take the opinion for what it is. Claiming to be a review when it's not, in my opinion, is far more harmful. Way more harmful. And it's annoying when people keep saying that because you potentially mislead others. If you keep saying, he makes reviews, and then someone goes and expects it. I mean, for the most part, I'm very clear in my videos how long I've played, so you can't really make that mistake. But I do find it bothersome when people keep insisting that, because you are going to end up misleading people. And the whole point of not saying that I do that is to not mislead people into believing otherwise. It's to take it as what it is. And say, oh, it's bad, you know, you shouldn't do that. Why? I mean, people clearly want this kind of content. So that's not the way you do it. You should do it this way. Says who? What rule? You know? If that rule was in place prior to me getting popular, then I think the fact that I got popular clearly proves that that rule is bullshit. I am the walrus, YouTube. But as to, like, who does stuff like me, I don't really know. Most people that I watch do more structured stuff than I do. And I'm totally fine with that. What I do clearly works. There's a market for it. There's no reason to change it. You know, as long as people understand, and I make it abundantly clear that the content is a specific kind of thing. Don't treat it as anything else, because it's not. Thanks for the shout out for the Twitter page. Yes, Maxi, thank you very much for the stats page. It's very good. I ended up using some of it in the Shoutcraft Kings BlizzCon analysis. Definitely appreciate you making that. We'll be using it a lot more, probably, especially in the Shoutcraft Talk show. We'll get appropriate credit for that. Get rid of this. I'm getting an arse beat right now. It's a freeze-based Rose deck, which I've shown the success of that. Don't play that quite yet. Yeah, Northern Lions stuff here's Let's Look At is quite similar. It's about as similar as it gets, I think. He's been starting to do a bit more of that lately, but he still does a ton of Let's Play stuff. And is it a buyer's guide? Kind of, you know? If anything, it's a live demo with some information and criticism accompanying it. Which I certainly don't think is a bad thing. There's clearly a market for it. And it's clearly demonstrated by that, by the fact that other sites and YouTubers have tried to follow suit. Do I think I do it better than them? Yeah, kinda. I absolutely think I do. But if you didn't, why would you... You know, you've got to think that your own product's good, right? You've got to believe in your own product. Game ranks before you buy stuff is really good as well. That provides a very useful service, and is clearly demonstrated by that popularity. This is getting rough. Could very easily die next turn, depends on... Or this turn, depends on... where we go with this. Getting rid of that is proving to be a problem. Would the rocket do it? Yes. Okay, so the way to go is play that to block that, go to trick phase, and then rocket. Oh, that only if he buffs it will that work. Otherwise, that does not work. Oops. Choose one Steam sale game. Doom. Fucking Doom, man. Doom is so good. Buy Doom. I do find it amusing when people try and, like, make a similar title to me. That is quite funny. It's complimentary. So, what's this game, mate? Is apparently a thing, but I preach game, I never heard of him, but... I remember that German channel that went with that Was ist, which I think was quite... I found that really amusing. I have no issue with people using similar titles. It's fine. A lot of it comes down to as long as you don't use the same one, because that is a trademark issue and it fucks with SEO. You can't just use other people's series names like that. Wolfenstein The New Order is a good option if you haven't already got that. Yep. Ooh, we're not dead, but that does sting. Because that armor is going to trigger, so I'll be fine, but we may still win this. She is out of cards. Yep, we're still going to win it. Well, maybe. Because this is going to trigger armor. Guaranteed. So I won't actually die this hit. I will die next turn unless I can do something about it. The thing is, she only has one card, and we can do something about it. So... it sucks that that triggered it. What card did she draw? Is that a card that can kill me? I don't think so, no. The free zombie thing is a good draw, because that prevents her from taking 6, but we are still close to winning. It also kills the fucking zombie rider. We need to deal with this. Just gotta play this next turn out very carefully, and we can win. Coverage of Final Fantasy 15 now, it's a console game. If it comes to PC, sure, but it won't. Most likely. Okay, we need to block all lanes. She's drawn 2 cards. If she has an amphibious card, we're dead. Oh, God. Okay. I think I'd go with that and that. If she has a card that freezes, we're dead. I'm going to hold on to the Helicopter Imp as a response card instead of playing a card right now. And that kills us. Yep. We is dead. GG. How does Dishonored 2 reshuffle your worst launch list of the year? It's definitely on there. When I was doing the arbitrary awards, I started to do the shortlisting last night for it. Dishonored 2 is definitely on it as biggest launch disaster. There's a couple of other games, obviously. I need to think about whether or not I'm doing all the categories this year. I think I'll probably change 1 or 2. Mostly it's looking the same as 2015's layout right now, though. Would I ever do a WTF on Forza Horizon 3? I've heard, actually, that it is a real pain in the ass to get running right. Like, it's a situation where the engine was optimized in such a way not to run properly above 30. So even with the most powerful machine, you have difficulty attaining and holding 60. I'm also not much of a racing game guy. I prefer... One sec. Well, that's more out than in. I'm more of a arcadey racing guy. And Forza is really not that. I know Horizon's a bit more arcadey, but I just want more shit like Blur. Jesus, why can't we have another Blur? I know the company shut down, but that was fun. It's like, hey, real cars, but we have weapons on them. That's awesome, right? I prefer combat racing or zero-G racing. Anti-grav racing is really fun. Red Out is one of my top 10s of the year, most likely, at this point. That's a very good game. Burnout, yeah. Demolition Derby. Oh, man. That was great. I did try the most recent Need for Speed. It kind of edgelorded me out of the game. It's like, God, these cutscenes. Please stop. I remember Need for Speed Underground being a hell of a lot of fun. The original one, but the new one, not so much. Again, takes itself a little too seriously. Vigilante 8. Oh, hell. That was a game. I missed that one. We could definitely do them with a new Vigilante 8 style combat game. Grip. Yes, that's more like Roll Cage, isn't it? I haven't played the X in early access. Distance is good, too. Again, it's still early access, but... What type of playstyle is this deck? It's just one it's mostly trick-based, spell-based I can be fooling around with. I don't think I've really got it right yet. I think I threw the deck together mostly for a quest that required me to play this deck. This type of hero, so I'm not really 100% aware this is going. I have better decks than this. I think my Rose deck and my Solar Flare deck were a lot better. My Z-Mech deck's a lot better. That's gonna sting. There's a lot of anti-hero stuff in this deck, but it doesn't, I think, have the removal to make that work. Anti-hero is easily blocked. What I can do, however, is do a shitload of damage by doing this. That's 12 damage right there. You can go with the sort of positional anti-hero deck. Wait, what? Oh, fuck. The way the lane attack works is that if you move a hero that hasn't, zombie that hasn't attacked yet to a lane that's already been done, it doesn't attack. I am a dumbass. That was a mistake. More call-outs to me and Jenna. I don't know. She's very busy. She's got a lot of stuff that she's working on, especially the cosplay stuff and the charity work. So yeah, there's always the possibility. I'm just not going to promise it. I'd also kill for new Power Stone. There is a Power Stone-like game, I think, in early access, but they don't have online multiplayer, which is a big mistake. And I lose next turn. Yeah, I need to rethink this deck. It's just crap. Titanfall 2 is good. Multiplayer-wise, like, again, it's not perfect. That's sort of the main issue I have is not really with the game itself, it's with a lot of the evangelism for it. It's like, oh god, it's revolutionary. It's not. It's not. Titanfall 1 exists. You can't ignore that fact. It's ridiculous that people think they can. It's like, no, just... If you're playing Titanfall for the first time, cool. That's great, and I hope you have a lot of fun with it, but don't claim it's changing the world. It's not. It's doing a lot of the similar stuff to what Titanfall did the last time it came out. It's a do-over. It is. It's a do-over, and that's fine. You can make a do-over. Just don't claim it's anything that it's not. There are definitely problems with it, and there are also things that have been done very differently that are worth highlighting. Saying it's the same game. It's not identical, but it is very similar. You know, the biggest change, really, is probably the hero class-based Titans, which is really just a different way of doing loadouts. And there's advantages and disadvantages to that. Oh, I'm an idiot. You don't do that with an arm wrestler. Ah, oh, stupid, stupid, stupid. Already started off wrong. And as I don't... I've been kind of let down by... this is a risk. Don't want to have it land in the arm wrestler lane. I've kind of been let down by all three major shooters in October, November. None of them do everything I want... Ah, you bastard. None of them do everything I want them to do. They all have their good points. Call of Duty's campaign is fun. It's very Call of Duty, certainly, but... there's an element of the scale and the spectacle of it is, especially with the sci-fi, so fucking good that it's very hard to not get swept away in it. Zombies mode is a lot of fun too. The multiplayer sucks because it is far too similar to previous games. They had an opportunity to innovate and they didn't, and it's probably why I hate Infinity Ward. They keep pulling this shit. And then you've got Titanfall that has good multiplayer, but again, it's a do-over of the previous, and the campaign is not that good, in my opinion. I think the Titanfall campaign is worse than the Infinite Warfare campaign, and I have finished the Titanfall campaign. I'm almost done with Infinite Warfare. As to why, there's a couple of reasons. Mostly its theme, which again is very subjective. There is a real big feeling that Call of Duty Infinite Warfare is a sci-fi epic. You know, it feels like a very big sci-fi epic. It's on a grand scale. Whereas Titanfall 2 is a bit more intimate. You know, it's about the relationship between you and your Titan, which I would be okay with if I cared about that. The problem is that to me, that the relationship between the pilot and the Titan is so cliched and played out and trope-ridden that I can't care about it. I don't think the writing's good at all in that game. There are also some pretty severe issues with level design. The levels are highly linear, and level 4 is maybe one of the worst FPS levels I've ever played, because it's about 20-30 minutes of nothing but constant fucking platforming, with instant death, bottomless pits, and a ton of hidden crushers and obstacles. It is awful. Like, it really comes down to whether or not you're okay with platforming in the FPS, and I've never been really okay with that. Call of Duty is a bit more straightforward. I will also say that I mean, Titanfall kind of does this too, but one thing Infinite Warfare does really well in its campaign is that it never takes you out of the moment, because the story, the way that the story progresses and the campaign progresses, is from, for the most part anyway, one perspective, and it's happening kind of in real time. Which I think is really cool. So you know, you are traveling as that character. I mean, literally, you go from a planet to space, onto a ship, which you then use to get to somewhere else, you know, and you're constantly connected, and then you get onto that planet via a Halo drop through a big fucking space jeep and all that shit. There's some, like, awe-inspiring scenes in that game. The scene where you're boosting off the planet, and your planet's military capital ships are also going to orbit is amazing to watch. Oh, you see their boosters flaring as they struggle to get into space. You're following them in their fighter. Instead of it going to a cutscene, you literally get to fly that fighter. It has a full-on, not very advanced, but a full-on flight system. I think it does what Battlefield 1's campaign does with vehicles, but better, because it gives a sense of progression to those vehicles, and it has a sense of mechanical depth to the vehicle, even though it's not massively in-depth. It's, you know, it's no fucking Wing Commander, but you definitely get a feel of that. You know, you get a little bit of an essence of what made those games fun to play, what made fucking Free Space fun to play. I've loved it if it was more advanced than it is, but it is Call of Duty, and you don't necessarily expect that. So I think, you know, there are some pretty solid arguments to say that Infinite Warfare has a better campaign than Titanfall 2 does, although they are very, very similar in many ways. But again, when it comes to Infinite Warfare, the multiplayer is a massive waste of time, and it's a huge waste of potential. And then you come on to Battlefield 1 that has multiplayer, which again, very similar to previous games, with a different theme, a theme that is arguably wasted in many ways. I have enjoyed playing the multiplayer. I don't think it's incredible. Time and again, I think the single player sucks. Yeah, ripping on COD is a fad. There are some criticisms that are justified, and there are way too many that are not. You know, saying that COD hasn't innovated in the last few years is a flat-out lie. Like, it's ignorance. There's no doubt about it. You know, Treyarch and Sledgehammer have, absolutely. Infinite Warfare does not, and that's Infinity Ward's fault, because they've been like that for a while. They're saying, so they just say, hey, we know what we're doing, our formula is perfect, and we're not going to change it. But Black Ops 3's campaign innovated, Advanced Warfare's multiplayer innovated, Black Ops 2's campaign's innovated. Zombie mode has changed quite significantly over the course of several games, both in terms of theme and mechanics. It's done some pretty brave stuff that is unusual. I appreciate that. That is going to be fucking hard to deal with. Oh, it's got Frenzy as well. Oh, God. I actually don't know what to do about that right now. I think we're just trying to outplay it in another lane. What I probably should have done is actually, use that to kill it, because I could have hit him for 9 there. Rather than go for control, just go for damage and try and race him down. But yeah, campaign-wise this year, FPS-wise, it's really been a case of Doom is king. Every other FPS has failed on the single-player front, in my opinion. For the most part. Black Ops 3's campaign's good, especially considering, you know, it's built around co-op from the very start as well. And the whole... Oh, God, that hurts. The whole cybernetic power thing is a big deal. You know, it gives you a lot of progression and customization in ways that are not just guns, guns, guns. The fact that Infinite Warfare backed up on that is bad, in my opinion. But that's Infinity Ward for you. Infinity Ward loves to think they know best. And they've demonstrated time and again that that's their belief. That stings. We're not out yet, but... I know. We do have some pretty powerful endgame stuff. And he's kind of burning out at this point. So I think we do have a good shot at winning at this point. This is still on the board and doing a shit ton of damage. And when it dies, it also does 6 damage. So getting rid of it is a nasty... Yes, that thing does come back. Getting rid of it is difficult. The problem is that has Frenzy. I think we have to try and... Oh, damn it, we can't. Yeah, we can. Yeah, so we try and kill him this turn. So the way we do that is we put this first, which will hopefully trigger the super armor, resulting in a big 9 hit after that, and then when this dies, that kills it. Assuming he doesn't have a trick which will stop that from happening, which is possible. Let's see how it goes. There's the super armor trigger, hopefully it doesn't pull anything good. Yep, cool, that's a win. And then the grapes dying actually kills him. GG. I'll do a couple more games, and then I'll wrap up and... Let's see what I can do about getting some YouTube content done, so people say their content drought can go away. I only have a few days before I've got another CT scanner right back into fucking chemotherapy, so I'm Doing the best I can. I've still got a gun video to do. That's getting recorded Monday with Forgotten Weapons. People probably complain about that it's not gaming content. You know how they get. Yeah, but it's certainly made like business sense to prioritize Twitch for the last couple of months because of Twitch Prime, and the additional ad revenue that you get over Christmas on Twitch is very good. I still consider sort of YouTube our primary thing, but this has been a bit of a temporary, not so much holiday, but streaming is different and is enjoyable, and thanks to Twitch Prime has made us a lot of money over the last couple of months. We need that. Man, that's reliable. I've got a lot of taxes to pay. Which is why, by the way, I feel entitled to complain about the state of this damn country, because I pay more taxes than most, for fuck's sake. But you have the right to vote. Yet you have to pay out of your ass for your taxation. Yeah. What's that taxation without representation thing again? Remind me? How did that go last time? I pay more than my fair share. I paid more taxes than that fucking president did. Not that would take much, considering he paid nothing. Hey, I'm hoping at least for December I can do a lot of wrap-up content, catch the games that I missed, get the big stuff out of the way, and then do the end of the year awards and top 10s, which will, you know, it's not been a good year for the channel. It's all, and that's all health related, you know? Do the best I can with what I've got, which is limited. It's hard enough dealing with that without mouth breathers going after you on a daily basis, especially ones that call themselves fans. That's the worst part of it. Ow, that stings. Well, that sucks. Yeah, Dishonored 2, Watch Dogs, both kind of on the list. It's... for like a lot of the other games, I'm kind of ready to just do the videos. It's just been a case of being in the right amount of health to be able to do a full-on hour-like presentation on this stuff. And have the time to put it out to the standard that I'm okay with. I haven't heard anything about Dual Universe. All I heard is it was very ambitious and probably is going to be a letdown, I imagine. When I hear about a game of that scale these days, especially made by an unknown dev, I assume it's going to be a failure. Because I'm usually right. So I can probably get a Dishonored 2 video done. I was definitely put off by like its launch performance, but it came out while I was away, so I only have my laptop. So the timing was wrong on that. I'll probably perform well enough to do a video now. I also, you know, still want to enjoy my games, especially these days when I have such limited time. I don't want to hate games. I want to like them. I don't want to spend time doing things I don't like. Who would? Yeah, I know it's not the people in the chat that are doing that. It's like that's the annoying thing about venting is you're venting to the people who do care, and then they feel like you're accusing them of it, which isn't true. And the problem is that, again, as you vent, you give power to those people as well. It's a no-win situation. The only thing you can kind of do is ignore it, but that's not as easy as it sounds. That's not something you can just do, especially if you're not wired that way. Some people are wired that way, and the problem is a lot of those people then don't understand why other people aren't wired that way. It's like, cool, if you can resist it, that's great. There's some content creators that can. I'll say far more of them deal with it in very private ways that you don't see that are not so healthy. A lot of content creators are addicted to substances, whether it be alcohol, whether it be drugs. A lot of them are in pretty severe therapy for a lot of this shit, because you know, it's the same as celebrity life, with the exception that we don't have as much protection as they do. We often don't have publicists and stuff kind of in the way. And even then, when celebrities do that, you still see the meltdowns. They're real. People shit on fucking Kanye West, but Jesus, you know, he's been through a lot as well. Yeah, of course, he's rich, and people's like, oh, I don't have any sympathy because he's rich. Really? People aren't people because they got money? When the hell did that happen? This is going to be tricky. I should have removed this way earlier than I did. But this should give me the clear next turn, so that'll swing the game around in my favor. Well, it won't give me the full clear. I'll have to lose my creature to do it, but... Britney Spears. I mean, there's so many examples. So many examples of people. And people just love to just take pleasure in watching other people fall to pieces. It seems like when people say, oh, I want to watch the Black Friday shit, and people go, no, really? Like, to me, that, in many ways, is kind of, you know, it's like watching bump fights. It's not, like, very morally cool of you. A lot of these people are not that well off. And yeah, is the behavior rational? Kinda, sure, but it's like, hey, let's just mock them for it. It's kind of, it reminds me of sort of the Roman gladiatorial idea. It's like, they're just blood sport. I don't think that's worth respecting. And can you even blame them for that behavior? It's been ingrained in them for God knows how long that that's how they should act. And then you're surprised when people do act that way? I think it's pretty shitty. Oh, yeah. Empathy is in short supply these days. Oh, you're wrapping up shortly, probably after this game. And I will try and avoid going to fucking Reddit that has probably been shitting all over me all day, as is their favorite hobby. I have better things to do. The sad thing is I know that. That's the worst thing about it. I know that. We're gonna... I can clear and do, what, 11, 14 damage this turn. I'm so tempted just to hold on to that, though. Just like, let's just... For the time being, we can keep that alive this turn. Hold on, that's 6 damage for later. Oh no, the official subreddit's fine. That's not the problem. No issue with that, you know. The only kind of sad thing is, like, people's like, will you come back? Like, no, I won't, like... I think Reddit in particular got really shitty over the last few months. Really bad. Way worse than it was. You know, not just in terms of feedback for me, but for just everything. Like, people are just horrible, and it's been a place that's just resulted in a shit ton of lies being spread. It's like one of the primary propagators of fake news these days. It's not something worth supporting, in my opinion. And people do like to make that good old freedom of speech argument, but I'm sorry, there's no freedom of speech in private domains. That's a fallacy. I don't understand what freedom of speech is. A lot of people look for news on Reddit. A lot of people. And it's a problem. A shit ton of false stuff during the election was spread via Reddit. Upvoted by fucking Russians and bots and subreddits that are just conspiracy orientated. Like, rationality and fact-checking without the fucking window. That stings. Dealing with that Gigantor's hard. For those who don't know what that is, by the way, that's indicated as Bullseye. Bullseye doesn't trigger super armor, so those are hard to deal with. This is going to be a close game. If we can get this down and just hit a lane, we're good. The problem is he does have 2 cards, and one of them... I think we want to chump block that. One of them may very well be a trick that would stop what's happening here. There's also a real possibility that these 2 shots trigger super armor and the final hit doesn't go through. But there's also a possibility it doesn't happen, so... Ah, got it healed. Alright, well. That's probably that. But you never know. Always worth fighting to the end on this one, because there are big turnaround possibilities in this game. Ah, and it triggered it. That sucks. The super armor's gone now, but unless I draw... I think I just lose now completely. Unless I draw board clear. Nah, I'm dead. Yeah, I've lost. Because I can't block all the lanes. GG. Cool. Alright, I'm going to wrap this up for the time being. Get something to eat, and then see what I can do about getting some YouTube content up. And then maybe people will stop complaining, but I doubt it. Again, big thanks for the support. You know, if you don't think any of this stuff applies to you, the chances are it doesn't. It's the mistake that's often made. We have to talk in very general terms, especially when dealing with a large group of people. Because it's like, it's a vocal minority, you can either address them individually, which then they complain about. Because at that point, they're like, oh, you're using your power to name and shame individual people, which apparently is not okay. Or you can talk in very general terms, and then people assume that you're talking about them, when in reality you're not. Or you assume, oh, you know, it's more than the vocal minority. No, it's always the vocal minority you're talking about. Hard to explain that, though, sometimes. I think, you know, the vast majority of people do understand that. If they didn't, they wouldn't still be sticking around. As much as people think the recent emotional meltdown, which, frankly, was a pretty damn calm meltdown, all things considered. It's like, if you'd actually read those posts, I don't think you'd find them anywhere near as unreasonable as people have claimed them to be. I walked back the stuff that I thought was justifiable to walk back, and I didn't walk back the other stuff. It was a pretty damn calm meltdown compared to others, but... ultimately, we're all flawed human beings, and we need to keep remembering that. Why YouTubers are held up on a pedestal, I really don't know. All we did was get into a career that lets us make videos on the internet. We're hardly perfect people. Then again, neither was our goddamn president. Ooh, super rare. Yeah, I think I only have 3 of those, so that's nice. I have enough respect for my audience to believe that they... In fact, I mean, it's... I don't even have to think about that. That's not even something that I need to say, oh, well, I hope. No, I can see it clearly with the stats. 0.0065% of subs left because of the whole political rant thing. And we've almost recovered all that number back. Already. In a week where I haven't had content. It's like, oh, okay. It's about as effective as your Hamilton boycott, really, isn't it? But if people want to leave over that, that's their business. I'm going to begrudge them for it. And ultimately, especially the ones that were threatening my life and wishing death on me, I didn't want them in my audience to begin with. It's like, really? You think I'm going to sympathize for you? It's like, oh, please give me ad revenue when you're telling me that I'm shit. You didn't watch me in the first place, then. God, what kind of supporter are you? Ah, man. Anyway. Stop ranting about that. It's getting repetitive. Big thanks for those who watched today. And as I said, hopefully the next few days, Titanfall 2, Division Survival. See what else we can come up with. I think that's about it. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else that needs mentioning. Nope. That'll do. Cool. Auto host will probably activate about 2 minutes after the stream goes down, so whoever's still live, I'm not sure if Dodger's still streaming, but whoever's still live will probably get tossed over on the host here. Thanks a lot for watching, folks, and I will see you next time.